Well, welcome all to our webinar 1.2.4. As I can see people are starting to come into the call. India, Australia, so all over the place, that's what I love about this virtual reality. It was once a terminology back in the days, but the virtual reality is truly in play now with everybody connecting over the internet, which is a great thing. But look, without any further ado, great welcome to everybody. Hope you enjoy your time. Fasten your seatbelt for an exciting time with us to talk about the latest and greatest with Vansah 1.2.4. And so hopefully everybody will enjoy. And just a couple of logistics before we move on today. We only have half an hour, so we're going to try and unpack all the key items in our webinar this afternoon. But probably the first call out is that you may notice that as you're joining the webinar this afternoon, by default, you're set to be muted. But during the webinar, I'll make sure that I'll allow that for people to respond or to speak up should they need to. But just from a logistics point of view, we've disabled the chat. However, we've enabled the Q&A. So if you have any questions that you would like to sort of present, feel free to go into the Q&A in your teams and post your questions. It'll be regulated by the team, and so feel free to do that. There'll also be some polls that'll come through the webinar just to sort of gauge where you're at as we present the content this afternoon. And look, I think that's from a logistics perspective. As I said, we are so happy to be here this afternoon and to go through. And before we actually get down to the agenda, I want to introduce the team for our time online today. Myself is Hala Talanoa. I look after the customer engagement side of things from Vansah. We also have Fedi Holy, who's our chief solution architect in everything that sort of surrounds it, and also Vivek Mavudili, who's one of our lead product engineer this afternoon. So we will be conversing and interacting as we sort of unpack 1.2.4 this afternoon. So welcome to the team in there. Thank you for making time. From an agenda point of view, we're going to be looking at the latest release of 1.2.4. As many of you may have seen in the Atlassian market, that's been out now for about a week. We'll look at some of the key areas or problems that that particular release have solved for our customers. We'll also be looking at some of the exciting features and upcoming roadmap that will be available a little bit down the track. And then we'll take some time to showcase some of the key highlights of 1.2.4. And I won't talk a lot about it, but I'll take this time to pass it on to Fedi and Vivek, who they will be talking about some of the key announcements that we want to share and break down some of the highlights and key features and fixes that is available in 1.2.4 in the market. So thank you, Fedi.
Well, thank you, hello, and it's a pleasure to be here with everyone, especially for the release 1.2.4 that has just recently come out. And part of the release, we didn't just focus on functionality, but also how Vansah is going to now has been opened up to expand to our partnership registration that's now available on the vansah.com website. What this means basically is we're reaching out to Atlassian partners that are sort of solution providers for the Atlassian suite of tools, specifically Jira. And this is now where we're now in discussions and talks, and it's going to be great because as we've sort of starting to have some conversations with some registered partners, it means that the academy and all the work that we've been doing on the forum and some of the training courses and material that we're putting on is now basically going to support our partners to learn more about our product and become champions, and including it in their arsenal when they're supporting their clients with Jira. So that's officially being launched now, and there's a lot of work to be done. There's the partnership portal that's coming out soon to allow our partners to get their direct support, and not only can they reach out to the community, who most of you are here today, but also to our VIP support, basically to give them that premium support to ensure that customers are being supported from there. So that's been great news. The other key announcement is very quickly is the Vansah Connect integration. So this is where not only is Vansah a product, an app for Atlassian, but it's also going to be a solution. No, so I should say not only just as a test management solution, but also an ability for it to integrate with some really great solutions in the market today, like Jenkins and other automated tools, CI/CD tools. So we're our dev team, and we're encouraging other developers out there to sort of build integrations, and they can do that now with the Connect integrations that's advertised on our website. So clearly that's really good news, because it's going to mean that we're expanding Vansah out into becoming a native solution for Jira, but also native integrations where it makes sense. But also our REST API that's opened up to allow people to build their own connections. So really, really supportive. I think with the upcoming Vansah 360 feedback, that's probably more where Hala specializes in. So I'll probably let Hala talk a little bit about that. But one of the key things is, as well, which I'll speak about briefly, is what's coming up in release 1.3. It's a big release, so this is probably the last time we'll have this release update until end of September, probably early October, because there's a lot of new things, great things that are coming up, specifically on the Vansah dashboard. So what you see today on the Vansah dashboard, it's great. It sort of helps from a test management perspective, showing your test cases, grouping your test cases, executing. But we're really making default reporting and what you see from the Atlassian dashboard now visible from the Vansah dashboard directly. A lot of the changes to specifically around your test case grid. At the moment, it's quite limited to certain columns that you've probably seen, where we're allowing for all different columns to be visible for you as a user, that you can save. So it's customized to your test case column. So you can see things like components, assignee, let's say labels, all within the dashboard there. That's already in the being cooked up at the moment, and it's going really well, but that will be part of that release. And also what we're releasing is even saving filters searches. So a lot of listening to our audience, our community, I should say, has been remarkable, because it's been telling us what some of the frustrations are, that you're continuously having to add searches and save filters, and that's become a regular area that you go to Vansah for, to try and find your test cases. And it makes sense that it will only help if we can allow you to create your searches and save those searches, and so you can use them as private searches, public searches, no difference to how Jira works today. So we're working on that. That will be part of that. So a lot of great things coming up. There's a few more, but without, obviously we don't have a lot of time to talk about that. But I think I'll let probably Hala just maybe talk about the upcoming Vansah 360. I think that's probably your part, Hala.
Yeah, thanks, Fatty. Look, and just very quickly before I pass it on to Vivek, who'll sort of call out some of the key highlights and fixes, is the 360 feedback is designed for community engagement. It's hearing your feedback from every angle, depending on how you use it in your day-to-day. And we always love feedback, and that's what's going to help us, solve your particular challenge or need. So look out for that. Check out on our community site on Wednesday, the 10th. We're looking forward to joining us on that. I'll pass it on to Vivek, who will speak a little bit about some of the key highlights and key fixes before we push through onto some of the key problems that were solved by 1.2.4. Thanks, Vivek.
Thanks, Hala, for talking about Vansah 360. Really looking forward from customer feedback. So in this release 1.2.4, one of our main focus was the development of this traceability gadget. So we were really excited to release this. Using this, you can really get some deep insights and drill down into the relationships between cases and issues and any related test runs. So it's really great that we have this. We have also introduced the popular ways of filtering through the issues using JQL search and save filters and issue lists, where you can now get whatever specific combinations that you are looking to find. Right. So we have also added almost all the features from Vansah board into issue screen. So that's something useful for everyone. And we now have the ability to import foreign issues, which was foreign issues via test case import, which was not present earlier. And we are now also able to create test cases across any project from being present in one of the project. You don't have to switch Jira projects now. And one of our key features is the creation of automation APIs, right? We now don't have to go into each project and create a specific token for our automation APIs. So it's a universal token now. So we just create from any project, and you can use it for pinging our automation APIs for any projects, right? And there are some bug fixes as well, where one of them was like quick test was not working, even though it was configured from the config screen. So even though it was enabled, it was not showing up, and there was slight issues. So we have taken care of that as well. So there are some UI improvements as well in the case screen, where the height of the right panel is adjusted now. So yeah, I think I'll pass it on to Padi.
Let me just share my screen. Okay, so at the moment you should be seeing my screen. Please let me know if you can see that.
Yes.
All right. So as we were saying, the main features that was introduced in 1.2.4 was the introduction of the RTM Gadget. So if you're familiar with Jira, that you have your dashboards, and on the dashboard, if you click on Edit, if you search for Vansah to make it easier, you'll be able to see the current gadgets that exist. So obviously the burn up, test execution report, Vansah test summary. So they're really great gadgets for different purposes of tracking and managing testing, the execution velocity, and so forth. But the latest gadget is the Vansah test traceability report, which is really it's bi-directional traceability matrix. So if you click on Add, which I have done that at the moment, you'll now receive the ability to configure. So if I open up one of you can see the data already, but if I sort of configure the gadget, what Vivek was mentioning before is this RTM allows you to configure the report. Or, I mean, let me just explain, just for my viewers who may not be familiar with what a requirements traceability matrix is for basically project management solution that allow you to track and monitor the requirements from initiation to the delivery of the project. So if we're looking at a particular release, or if we're looking at a set of issues, we'll be able to report on those stories or those issues from Jira, and then track what test cases have been created against those issues, what the coverage is like, and also see the results. So we'll do a quick demonstration, but what we're demonstrating here is if you define your RTM as a list, it means that you now are going to select basically one of the issues in particular. If you want to go through selecting the issues in your projects, across your project. So if you select them, it will build your issues that you're going to report on. The other great option is the JQL, which is where we have here right now. If I sort of select that, we can then go through, as you're familiar with Jira, and build our query and find the issues that we would like to report on and do a traceability matrix against. So in this particular example, I've simply just typed in where types is bug, status is obviously not equal to. As you can see, it brings up all of Jira's not equal to done. So that's what I'm looking for. So what that means is we're obviously looking at all the issues that haven't been completed and that are bugs. So if I click search, this is the list. We click save, and now if we click save here, it's going to produce the traceability. So these are all our issues. As you can see, they're all not done. So there's none of these are done. So this is the list of issues, and that's where it's displayed, and it's across any of your projects, depending on how your query is. And what it's telling me here is that for the issue 18, we only have one test case, right? So it's up to the management, here to sort of look at that. Is that enough? Do we have enough test cases against that issue, that bug or that story? Yes, no. It's really up to you as a team to manage from that point on. I mean, I would be first questioning how come we do not have any test cases against 21. this issue here in particular. But that's really the key objective. But otherwise, what we're able to report on is that this test case is still failing. So really, it makes sense because it's still in development, right? It makes sense. But if we were to go ahead and execute, and this is now done, as in or resolved, we're obviously looking at reporting that this test case is now passed or not. So this is the main objective. But as you can sort of go through, you can also see that we're not only reporting on the test case traceability to the issues, but also any issues that have come up as a result of the testing. So we can quickly navigate and find that particular bug and then drill into it and understand more. So all of these are clickable. So if you really need to go and understand the test run itself, you can click on the test run. It will now open up the test run. And once it opens up, and you'll be able to see the details of what's happened. And this is where you're seeing that defect, right? It was a defect that was linked to this particular failure. So that's sort of helping you understand the traceability now. So we have a bug, we have the test cases that were now part of this particular issue to be executed. How do we see that as well? If we open up this issue, you can see how the relationship has come in. Click on Vansah, and these are the test cases. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear to everyone now how this is working. And the results is the latest test and who executed it and what date and time and the results. Another probably example of what I was trying to explain here is probably where I can cover is not only are we able to report on the issues themselves that we've returned from the filter, but we're also able to select the child issues that are linked to those particular issues that you've targeted, right? So in my example here, I just want to show you something very quickly how it works. If I've looked at my filter, I believe I had a filter here, but let me just open it up in another tab. So this we do have. So if you created search filters in Jira, you could sort of look at this as a quick way to report as well in your RTM. So in here we have 6 issues, but some of these issues have subtasks or child issues, right? So in our report here, I haven't included child issues. So if I click save, I can see that these are the current list of issues that we're reporting on. And one of the key things you could take note of in this gadget, we are reporting on child issues, but maybe none of them do have any. No, none of them do. But maybe what I'll do in this case, in this filter, there should be child issues. So the issues that we're reporting on, they also do have some child issues. If click save, you'll soon see that some of anything that is a child issue will be indented. So if you look here, this is an initiative, and this is also a subtask of this initiative, and so forth. And you can see this is an epic, and this is a subtask of this epic. So the traceability is also not on what you've identified as the filter, a list of issues, but any child issues can also be reported on, and you're able to see the structure there quite easily. So this is the main feature that we've done in this release. But what else we've done is allowed you to export that, because we all know that it's important to share that report, and you can export that, and that will produce a nice Excel spreadsheet for you, giving you all of the issues, test cases, test run details, and any test issues are reportable. So that's probably the key change there. So I encourage you to sort of start using it and give us feedback on that. That would be great. The other quick thing that we have done on gadgets is you probably have, some of you have already started using, is in our burn up, we have the ability to now exclude. I mean, burn ups, as you may be aware, in Vansah is an ability to report on testing based on certain test folders that are cycles or sprints. And if you select a sprint, it grabs the start and end date, which is your period to report on. We've been using this for a while, so I won't go into too much detail, but what we have done is allowed you to exclude weekends. So it's been requested by many of our community to say, well, look, burn ups are great, we can sort of track the coverage, but we do not want to include weekends in our effort days, because that affects the whole reporting. So if you now wish to exclude weekends, you can select exclude or have every day and sort of save that, and that will allow you to generate and plot your execution, which will include either weekends in there or exclude them. There's been a lot that's happening. So what Vivek was mentioning was the ability to now import. So Vivek mentioned foreign issues. I think the terminology, is that right,
Yes.
Vivek? Yeah. So for our audience here that may not be familiar with what foreign issues means, it just means that we use this amongst our team to talk about when you're importing test cases into a project, which I'll demonstrate quickly, and I've prepared a file. In the past, we were only able to import test cases against issues from the same project. So let's have a look here, just to give an example. And I may sort of give you a quick demo using RTM, how quick it is to find. So as an example here, before this webinar, I've actually imported some new test cases, and I've used demo 1 as a test case. So I've prepared a file that has a set of test cases that are to be imported against a variety of different issues, and those issues are local issues or foreign issues that Vivek's talking about, which basically means issues from other projects outside of the test cases where they're meant to live. So if I looked at our team demo project in Jira, our demo project, if I click on Vansah here, this is our project. These are all our test cases that we have. Now, if I wish to import new test cases to this project, however, I want to link them to stories, issues, tasks, whatever they may be, from different projects in Jira, we can now do that. That's basically what we've worked on. So if I click on at the top right-hand corner of the Vansah board, we click on import cases. Now we select our file. I have prepared, and I believe this is the right file. Yes, it is, demo 1. It now allows us to map all the fields that we wish to import. The linked issues is what you need to map. So obviously in your file, we have a column called linked issues, and then we begin import. And what we have in that file, there you go, it's validated, everything looks good. So all our linked issues have been validated. If we continue import now, and probably we're going to import everything as, let's call integration tests. But maybe just to help what I mean by that, because Vivek is obviously thinking that something might be different. So if I open up the file here, so what make it easier, right? So these are the test cases.
Okay.
So I've just called it demo 2 to identify them, make it easy. Now, linked issues, as you can see, this is going to be linked to TD1, KD, all different issues from across different projects. Yeah, right? You can see that now?
Yeah.
So all different projects, and they're not all from the same. So in the past, the only way you could link new test cases to issues was if you were importing test cases against issues from the same project. So to make it extremely clear to everyone, that's been something that's been working in the past. What we've done now is allowed you to link new test cases to issues across your projects. Is that clear now, Vivek?
Yeah.
So I'm going to close that down. Hopefully my import, so we'll go ahead. It's now succeeded, right? So we've imported 53 issues. Everyone clear? So what I'm looking at is now in this project, if I refresh just to make sure, I want to look for anything with demo 2. I think I have a demo space 2. There we go. These are the new test cases that I've just created as part of the import, right? Now, I can open up each test case. You know, they've got the steps and everything that was in the file, and I can see that what issues it's linked to from here, right? We can sort of look at this test case is now linked to 3 different issues. Expand that. Here we go. KTOD8, TD, TD70. So these are projects, different projects. Obviously, this test case is part of the TD project, whatever that is, team demo, I should say. But it's also linked to a foreign issue, so from a different project. So if I open up, I can now see that demo 2 should exist here as well. Yeah, do you see what I mean? These are the test cases because they've been linked to this issue. So if I go back to my Vansah board and I'll show you the RTM, right? Just give me a second. I've now just got to open that up. And I believe you should see the relationship that I've been referring to. So now if I refresh this gadget, I should be able to see that I should find TD2, right? Demo 2, sorry. There we go. See how now it's reported on our traceability quite well. So this particular issue was linked to demo 1, but now we've imported new test cases and we now have the traceability clearly mapped, and that's sort of from a project manager that's sort of managing our project and sort of trying to make sure forward and backwards traceability is all in order. We have that all intact from a bi-directional perspective. All right, I think that covers most of what I wanted to. We don't have enough time to go through every single detail, but in terms of the release, but I thought we would showcase the main features of the key ones being the RTM, which I've just demonstrated, the import, and I think the rest is all visible online, and we look forward to sort of getting your feedback. The next big release is probably the one that we're most excited of, because I think we're going to need an hour, Hala, so please book an hour, because there's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about. I really mean that. I'm already seeing it in the making now, and it's exciting, right? As an architect working on the Vansah team, I'm surrounded by some brilliant, first and foremost, the community that sort of is driving most of the outcome. I said to Hala that I wanted to mention something in this webinar that's very important. We don't see Vansah as the perfect tool today, right? We understand it's a great tool today, but we know it's going to be an amazing tool, an enterprise solution that's only around the corner. Our roadmap dictates that, and it's not far now. We're confident of where we're heading. You know, the 1.3 release is actually going to put us on a different level. So we're looking forward to that. So that's the key thing we wanted to showcase. It's the platform's there. The product is for all our customers today that are enjoying the product. We know that it's delivering exactly what you need, but we are aware that who we're targeting from an international audience, you know, companies around the world, there's so many different needs and requirements. There's companies that have a big requirement for automation, integration, companies that require really good traceability cycles, creating test cycles and being able to link test cycles to the same test cycle to different stories and issues. Easy reporting from the dashboard. All these things are necessary, and once we have all those in Vansah in the next release and further refinements, we're quite confident that it's going to be a product that's going to sort of make a lot of people interested in, and it's going to make some of our competitors quite interested in terms of them. You know, it's going to be a product that they really should take seriously, and we look forward to that. At the end of the day, we're passionate about what we do, and we enjoy our community to be behind us. Looking forward to further feedback from everyone.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Fedi and Vivek. It's been great just to listen in on 1.2.4. Look, I'm just sort of trolling the Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for participating in our poll during the webinar. We don't have any Q&A, which meant Vivek and Fedi, you must have presented really well for everybody not to ask a question. So it's a good thing. Actually, I just have an anonymous posting a question. Will the RTM be collapsed by default or expanded? I'm hoping to see that in a collapse view to find what I am interested in instead of viewing it all. So that's a question from one of our attendees. Fedi, did you want to have a
great question? So I assume, and hopefully we can get some comment. When they say collapse view, are they referring to these child issues, or in terms of? I'm sort of not sure exactly. I understand what is meant by collapse view. Can we maybe?
I can probably sort of,
yeah,
I can probably expand on that. So now with the RTM being presented as one flat view, right? You've got a massive table. So the question in here, and please feel free to chat through, is the ability to sort of expand and collapse that, you know, for a quick search, you know, to be looking at particular issues in question. So that's the thinking. I could be wrong, but I'm hoping that that's probably the outcome instead of looking at it from a, you know, a real massive real estate. It's about collapsing it for quick search on that RTM gadget.
Well, look, it's a great question, but I think if we can maybe have more info, if that anonymous person was able maybe to reach out, support@vansah.com, or sort of get onto the community and sort of find me, Fatty Hawley, on the community forum and just chat with me. I'd love to hear more, because that would help understand. I think what probably may be an outcome from this is probably more features in filtering the gadget, searching just for looking at what you need. Probably it is, but yeah, if I can get an idea of the whole point of an RTM is you are able to change your filter and configure that, right? So if we're able to configure it, maybe you can then filter it that way, collapse it from your. I know it takes a little bit of steps, but look, if the other option is if you created, if I'm not mistaken, understand if you use it as a filter, let's say I'm going to be choosing imported cases. I mean, you can always. The good thing is you can change your filter, right? So if we changed our filter here, that's probably just a making.
Yeah, Fetty, did
life.
you want to? Yep. Did you want to show your screen very quickly? Sorry. Yep.
I'm so sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I've been running around. So what I was saying is, if you said that in your filter, you're looking at only specific types that you change. You sort of say, I'm only looking at epics, right? And then we're going to now save this filter, because this gadget is configured for that filter. As soon as we refresh that, it should change your RTM to only report on this one particular issue now, as you can see. And the reason why it's now reporting on this other issue is because it's a child issue, right, of the epic. So I wish I understand more, but look, at least we'll be able to demonstrate some other ways around how you can do things.
Yeah. Thanks, Fetty, for that. Look, the other question, and I think it's probably be the same one in here, is that just like the issue navigator in Jira, which is by default collapsed, so can we expect this the same way? So I suppose it's probably relevant to that last last question. But look,
we'll take that on board and assess that. Yes, that sounds good.
No, absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for attending today and to come in and put some time aside to hear about the 1.2.4 release. Just want to remind everybody to join the conversations in our community at community.vansah.com. Follow us on YouTube and also LinkedIn groups. But we're looking forward to our next time we meet together online. And thank you all.